Hey everybody, welcome back to Chronic Woodwork. Today is episode 9 and we'll be making a stuffed animal zoo. Here we go. After getting the rough dimensions from my sister-in-law, I decided to just freestyle this project. I'm running a little short on time before Christmas, so I just sprung right into the project without really much of a design. We agreed that 2x2 and about 3 feet high was the right dimension, so I first cut the apron members, or the cross members, at about 21 inches. I'll need 4 for the top and 4 for the bottom, so obviously 8 in total. The next step, I utilized the Craig jig again to drill my pocket holes for joinery. You'll notice that the number of holes I drilled in the top and bottom members are a little bit different. That will be for attaching the top frame to the zoo when it's all said and done. When it came time to assemble the members, I used my table saw and the rip fence to help hold things in line, and used a couple of clamps to keep pressure as I drilled the pocket holes in. I purchased a 3/4 inch sheet of 2x2 MDF, and I notched out 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch square at each corner. I then grabbed a scrap piece of 2x2 and slowly raised the blade of my table saw, making consecutive passes, making sure I sneak up and have that blade height just right. I placed the 2x2 sheet of MDF on my crosscut sled and notched out the corners. I then slid this piece of MDF down onto the base of my zoo, and luckily enough, I had a real good fit the very first time. At this point, I had the rough shape of the stuffed animal zoo that I wanted to have, but just looking at it didn't feel right. It was time to kind of class up the top a little bit, and so I took a 2x4, actually two 2x4s, and mitered the corners at 45 just to make a little frame and make the zoo look more like a tabletop. I then drilled those pieces together with pocket holes as well. Finally, I attached that entire top assembly to the frame with the pocket holes that are facing up. I purchased 1/4 inch bungee cord for the bars of the zoo. So I drilled a couple holes, found the size that I thought fit right. I then grabbed a scrap piece of MDF and I drilled 4 holes. I left about 4¼ inches between each hole, that way they were evenly spaced across each side. Then it was time to sand and paint. So once again, I took it from I think 80 to 100, 120 and 220. Before painting, I was just using white spray paint, so I sanded lightly with some 220 grit sandpaper between each coat. It's hard to say just because it's such a funny shape structure, but I probably used about 3 coats throughout the whole thing before it was time to attach the bungee cords. For fitting the bungee cords, I first needed to decide the proper length of each piece. So I used one as an example. I just tied a knot and found the level of tension I wanted before cutting 20 strands at that length. It was then just a matter of rinsing and repeating 19 more times. I ended up attaching all the bungee cords with a heavy-duty stapler. I had some reservations about it, but I figure if one of these cords ever gets damaged and needs to be replaced, then it'd be a pretty easy fix to just remove a staple and pull the bungee cord out from the bottom. Seeing as baby T doesn't show up until June, we don't have a lot of stuffed animals around the house, so I filled the stuffed animal zoo up with some Christmas gifts and placed it by the tree to show it off. If you like this video and like to see more, please hit that subscribe button. If not, we will catch you next time. Thanks and Merry Christmas.